Hey everybody, this is JDGaming, back to introduce y'all to the new and improved Psychic theme in Duelist's Advance. We're going to start off with a brief look at what all the new cards do, then we'll jump into some replays to get a sense of some potential plays. First off is our esteemed Esper, who returns to play as Serene Psychic Girl. She is a level 2 tuner who has two effects that are both hard once per turn. The first triggers on normal or special summon and lets you banish one card in hand on resolution to teleport a level 4 or lower psychic monster straight from your deck, and then lock you into psychic extra deck monsters for the rest of the turn. Her second effect is an ignition effect that lets you target any or all your psychics in play and bump their levels by up to 1 for the turn, which lets you make whatever synchro you want. You'll use Psychic Girl's effect to summon Mind Procedure, a level 3 tuner with 3 effects. The first effect lets you use it as a non-tuner for a psychic synchro, and you get a choice between one of these second or third effects per turn. The second effect is on normal summon or special summon by monster effect specifically, trigger to pay 2,000 life points to search a teleport spell from the deck or salvage one from your graveyard to the hand. The third effect triggers if procedure is banished and you pay 1,000 life points to special summon it. While it's unfortunate you have to pick between those two effects, they're both very solid and allow flexible summoning options under various hand traps or other conditions. Regarding teleport spells Mind Procedure can search, there's of course the classic Emergency Teleport, which is always a solid extender that isn't locked into any once per turn restriction due to how old the card is. There's also Assault Teleport as a normal spell, but I'll be shocked if you ever want to search that thing even in the future. There are two new cards that are worth considering. Parallel Teleport is a quick play spell that has a single hard once per turn effect. Tribute one psychic monster with a level to special summon a level 7 or lower psychic monster from either your main or extra deck, then lose 1,000 life points for the level difference between what you cheated out and tributed for cost. Because this effect does lock you into only special summoning psychic monsters the entire turn you activate it, I'm putting this one on the back burner a bit longer, even though you can do some cool things like dodging targeted negation like Imperm, or cheesing out 𝕮𝖊𝖊𝖊𝖙𝖘 to stop hand traps like Nibiru or Droll and Lockbird. I see the potential, but I'm just too excited right now to try hybrids with things like Punk that aren't mono-psychic. The other new Teleport Fusion quick play spell is probably your go-to search option. It has two hard once per turn effects. The first lets you fusion summon a psychic monster by banishing materials from your field and or graveyard, which lets you bring out a boss monster we'll look into shortly. This effect is locked into the main phase of either turn, which is fair since it would be insane to push for even more damage in the battle phase with this thing given what you can play with it. The second effect is a recursion value effect that triggers if your psychic extra deck monster is destroyed. Simply banish Teleport Fusion from the graveyard to target and special summon one of your banished psychic monsters with no further restrictions on it. The incredible new boss monster you will fusion summon is Absolute Axon Kicker, a worthy upgrade to the original Ultimate Axon Kicker. The materials are one psychic synchro plus any other synchro, and while it must first be fusion summoned, it's fair game for reviving later. It also cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is solid, albeit incomplete protection on a 3400 attacker. But the main reason you play it is on Fusion Summon, you can pay 2,000 life points to banish all face-up cards your opponent controls, a non-targeting mass removal effect that can be deployed even after you use 𝕮𝖊𝖊𝖙𝖊𝖓𝖙𝖘, the Cursed Thunder God, on your opponent's turn is quite the powerful 1-2 punch. You can also banish Absolute Axon Kicker from your graveyard on a later turn to cheat out a level 10 Psychic Fusion monster as a fusion summon. While that could be the old Ultimate Axon Kicker, I think it may be even better to summon Mutant Ultimus, who functions almost like invoked 𝕮𝖊𝖊𝖊𝖓𝖓 on monsters since he can banish himself as cost, which sets him up for a return later. The next two cards are some extenders for the main deck. Hush Psychic Minister is a level 3 non-tuner that basically replaces both Psychic's Tracker and Wielder in this deck, gaining the flexibility of extending if you have any Psychic monster instead of specifically a level 3 body. Since you can search it with Punk Jam Dragon Drive, he's quite accessible. You can also banish him and one other Psychic in your grave to target a face-up monster on the field and banish it for the turn. This can easily threaten or actually remove cards so you can push for an OTK while also setting up your banish pile to summon from if the cost didn't trigger something like Mind Procedure to come back already. Prototype Psychic Blaster is a level 6 non-tuner who lets you extend twice. First, you can discard him to summon a level 4 or lower psychic monster from either your hand or banishment without targeting, which can help you play without burning your normal summon or retrieve a combo piece you planted earlier. Second, you can revive him from your graveyard by paying 1,000 life points and banishing one other psychic monster, which similarly may trigger or set up further plays. He does banish himself like Plague Spreader Zombie when he leaves the field, but that means he also sets himself up for a return from the different dimension. Unlike Mind Procedure, who has an exception with the pick one of his effects clause, Prototype can use both of these effects in the same turn. Last and certainly not least, we have a trio of psychic monsters built for climbing high enough to reach Nibiru. First, the Wizard has trained to become the Silent Psychic Magician, a generic level 5 tuner synchro monster who can also be a non-tuner for any synchro summon. If summoned in any way, even cheated out by parallel teleport or revived in some way, he triggers to target and retrieve a level 4 or lower psychic monster from your graveyard or banishment, and you can choose to increase that summoned monster's level by 1 immediately if you wish. This effect does the same extra deck Psychic Lock for the rest of the turn as Serene Psychic Girl, but she's often already applied that. Next, the level 8 Crossmind Archfiend interestingly doesn't have crossed stats of Thought Ruler, but he's still far more powerful. It takes a Psychic Tuner to make, and he has 2 quick effects. The first is a main phase quick effect to target and special summon any one of your banished psychics who's level 7 or lower. The second is a battle phase quick effect to tribute any one other monster and gain life points equal to its original attack, and if you do, boost Crossmind's attack by that amount this turn. This guy can gain a ton of attack points just like Psychic and Punisher to consistently close out the game in a single battle phase. The last card is Psychic Blaster Mark II, who I'm happy to report is finally a playable and worthwhile Synchro Psychic Blaster. The level 9 Synchro needs all its materials to be Psychic, and it comes with 2 abilities that, much like Mind Procedure, you need to pick one of. First, you can just target and summon any one banished monster owned by either player. Quick, easy, and synergizes with random stuff like Bestials, Psyframe Lord Omega, or Hushed Psychic Minister. The second effect is a quick effect only during your own main phase to banish any monster in your graveyard and target a second monster that is face up on the field. Gain life points equal to the original attack of the monster you banished from the field. With these 10 brand new cards, plus a TCG exclusive world premiere synchro reminiscent of Psychic Nightmare we just got to experiment with, and plenty of other releases for Psychics over the years, it's time to look at what a modern banished Psychic deck might do. Fittingly, the first combo is going to feature what you can do with just Serene Psychic Girl. She's effectively Overdrive Teleporter at this point, locking you into Psychics in the extra deck of course, but giving you so many free bodies that you can go full Punk combo here, which will allow you to bring out their new Xyz before Nibiru can wipe your materials, and then with all the extenders you get, including the Punks, you're able to do a New Age Synchro Climb with the Psychics, bringing out our Crossmind Archfiend and big bodies like the new Punk Scale, and then from here we get a little Omega Hand Rip. Then we also get to climb into Duration for a board wipe on the opponent's turn. And on top of that, Crossmind, again, is a quick effect. So that means you can actually bring back your guys. They trigger on your opponent's turn. And you can even set up a Ghost Ogre on their turn as an additional interrupt on top of what you had already set up. This next combo basically focuses on Prototype Psychic Blaster, and both of its abilities can be quite useful. Right off the bat, we're doing the exact same thing as the first combo, except we didn't even use our normal summon, and that's huge because if we get hand trapped somewhere, we can potentially make a totally different play with something else we may have. On top of that, Prototype Psychic Blaster comes back as a huge level 6 body, and in a synchro summoning strategy, that's really big because that level 6 will allow you to easily access, with a level 3 tuner, your level 9. So we can evolve that Prototype Psychic Blaster into Psychic Blaster Mark II, who has the ability to bring back any banished monster, but here we can bring back Omega, use its effect once again, and then on top of that double hand rip, Blaster is able to remove one of the opponent's cards on the field as well. So it's very reminiscent of that Bestial Dispater line that used to be used in some decks, except you're able to do it natively within Psychics. This third combo is going to focus on Emergency Teleport. Now, make sure you do pass on your actions until your opponent potentially drops their Mulch Armies or whatever, because you can always chain the tele to that, or if you have something like Talons, you can actually just use that if you were able to bait your opponent during the main phase. So you have a lot of control with a quick play spell. Here we're basically doing a similar thing. We're going for Foxy Tune because that's able to get us to the same big Xyz while putting a level 8 on the board. And then while you could do pretty much the same thing once you get access to Serene Psychic Girl, here I'm just showing that you can actually pivot between pieces of the other combos and you're able to go for, in this case, Duration and Psychic and Punisher as an example of what the deck is capable of launching. And then here, of course, you get a big guy, you pay a lot of life, you can just win in one punch. This fourth combo is going to focus focus on what happens if you search for Teleport Fusion. This could be if you already have 𝕿𝖇𝖊𝖐 or you just want to go for this kind of a play because it may be more effective on your opponent. We're basically going to grab that other spell instead without extenders here. We're just going to climb into Virtual World 𝕮𝖊𝖊𝖓𝖙𝖊𝖓𝖙𝖘 because that is a floodgate, and whenever that board feels threatened, you can unleash the absolute Axon Kicker's board wipe effect. Finally, we have just a little thing I did for fun. I'm not actually playing Overdrive Teleporter in my current build, but with just that and a Hush Psychic Cleric, this is what you're able to do. You're able to use 𝕮𝖊𝖄𝑇𝖑 as the tribute fodder. You're able to bring out these earth monsters while setting up retrieval for your 𝕮𝖊𝖄𝑇𝑑, and boom, classic Naturia Beast hits the board. And then it's kind of funny because with this unicorn, we can fetch 𝕮𝖊𝖄𝑇𝑑 Birth. That will basically let us cycle between that and 𝕮𝑅𝑒ℴ. And look, SP can actually banish your own stuff from the graveyard. That synergizes with something like Blaster Mark II, who can just bring back your Naturia Beast and end on this board with Banish from 𝕮𝑅𝑒ℴ, Banish from Blaster, and Banish from SP, in addition to 𝕮�៊𝑇𝑑 Birth taking care of the opponent's graveyard, and Naturia Beast just saying no to all your opponent's spells. So once again, this last one was for fun, and the other combos realistically were just to give you a taste of what the different cards do when they're put into some context. Obviously, if you're playing with a full deck, you're going to draw a random assortment of these. Some ways it's going to be better because you have more resources in your hand. In other ways, it's going to be a lot worse because your opponent is going to be throwing things to interrupt you. But in any case, I hope this gives you a good idea of how these cards function, what you may be able to do with them, and definitely feel free to share any of your cool ideas that you may discover. I'd love to see them down below.